Naafiri, there's still a champion like Xin Zhao available for Jiejie.
Yeah, and I think that that's what we need. We need something where Jiejie can go a little bit nuclear in the early game, because that's not really what we've seen from him at all. And I think that that's where BLG do get punished, is where there are junglers that just exploit Beichuan's not quite experienced at this top level just yet. But IG lock in a Jace early on. Now, this is a flex pick. Rookie can take this. TheShy can take this. It's not really lending too much to their composition at all, and is a good little first pick to give them stable carry in the early game, but also some late game poke as well.
Yeah, definitely allows for them to play in two different roles, whether that is that lane dominant kind of melee centric Jace, or if we're going for long range like you said. BLG are going to immediately respond with a Xayah Rakan, so not only 2v2 in the duo there, but also gives them some ability to make some pretty flashy plays, especially for On, who seems like he's on a bit of a burner right now.
And the Ashe Renata response here, so what looks to be a very dive-focused pick for On is immediately responded to with a Renata. And now BLG have this choice. Do they want to try and sit back and play at range? And maybe just use On as this sort of floater in the mid-range to try and catch a few people out and act as peel? Or are they going to commit to this full dive versus Ashe versus Renata, which can be quite difficult to execute? Ashe with the volley is very good at slowing people. The hostile takeover as well, a very good tool at stopping people in their place. And for BLG, they take this Renekton, which again, I do think is a bit of a risk. But I think that with Red side, there's an opportunity for us to say that this is also a flex pick. That if they want the Renekton just to match the Jace, Knight can take this into the mid lane as well.
I feel like there's not too many champions that Rookie would like to play that are going to fall prey, especially with Sylas already gone and taken off the table. I feel like when I see this Ashe and Renata in particular, I'm starting to think, okay, a mobile mages, especially for BLG and champions that don't have a lot of mobility, will get punished thanks to this Renata ultimate. So we're in the back end of the draft. For IG, it is a focus as to whether or not this Jace is going to be a flex for them. And what do we get from Jiejie?
So this is a Skarner ban from BLG. The pairing with Renata is really good. That Zyra ban suggests that they're going for something that is going to be a little bit more slower on that clear, and that they don't want to just give Beichuan free reign of the jungle. And I think that Zyra was typically the answer for Skarner for the most part. I think that's what they're setting up for. There is a world, I mean, with that Trundle ban, you now start to think, are they just looking for Xin Zhao themselves? Because that's, or Sejuani even, right? Like, there's a couple of picks here that we've got. I think that Sejuani, Xin Zhao, and the Skarner are all a trifecta that we should expect to see in this third game. Then looking at what it is going to be for both of our solo laners, again, want to highlight that this Renekton probably just wants to match the Jace, and wherever BLG send that is going to be their goal. The Sejuani's taken off the board, so we have Xin Zhao plus Skarner now, the two that we go to. Maybe Lilia comes in a little bit because we've still not got any magic damage for either of these sides. So, you know, a lot of options still for them, and early game priority really becomes the Xin Zhao's bread and butter.
Okay, so no magic damage like you had said. Imagine that this could still be the option for them. Instead, BLG want to take away playmaking tools from Invictus Gaming. It's going to be the Ahri locked in instead. So a lot of early game prowess, I think, from these solo lanes in particular from Bin and Knight.
I mean, this reveals the flex now. So, like, this gives the opportunity for TheShy to pick something into the Renekton, or whatever that may be, right? That's for him to decide, but this can let the Jace go into that mid lane and answer the Ahri. Skarner gets locked in is no real surprise. Skarner Renata is a very good duo. You get them impaled and then the hostile takeover follows over them. There's nothing they can do to stop that if they've got caught in the impale as well. It's a good 3-4 seconds of CC, which is free time for Gala, for Rookie to do that DPS. And looking now at what this final pick is going to be, Rise, a champion that has seen a lot of priority through the LPL and has seemingly been absent in games 3 and 4, or 1 and 2, so makes his way into game 3.
All right, it's going to still end up being the Xin Zhao coming on through. So in terms of early game, we would tend to kind of focus a little bit more on BLG. It feels like they have a lot easier time being able to get push and kind of being able to find those early skirmishing. But when you look at this Invictus roster, you talk about like a 20-minute game, 25-minute game where these games really have been going, and you have so much tankiness, especially between this mid-jungle. And Renata does make this game a lot harder for BLG to play.
I will say trying to get out of those hostile takeovers is going to be quite easy for BLG, right? We've got Featherstorm, we've got the amount of mobility on Renekton, Ahri, and Rakan are all really quite high. But that being said, it can still be a really good zoning tool for IG. It can disrupt that engage, even if it doesn't connect. It can be a disruption factor, which means that BLG are going to struggle to get into that backline. So it really is going to have to be very heavy eyes on Meiko and how well he uses this hostile takeover this game, because it really can decide how the team fights go. And if we get to that 20-25 minute marker where we're seeing teams fight on parity, the Renata ults decide the game.
Well, it's going to have to come down to this. Every game from here on out is do or die for Invictus Gaming. If they want to keep their chances of an upper bracket run here for Split 2 playoffs alive, they need to be able to take down BLG, and it needs to start now. The last 2 games have looked anything but close. It has been BLG dominating since minute number 1. If Invictus Gaming want to be able to prove themselves as the super team that we were hoping, they're going to need to have a full-on turnaround, and I think it obviously starts here. You've given TheShy his Jace. You now have Jiejie on this Skarner. It starts here.
Ooh.
Oh, hell. Hey, the Jaios are getting excited. Meiko uses the flash, and that's the first blood going over to On. This is exactly what BLG wanted to happen, and IG, they wanted to avoid this. Charm still lands, Gala uses his cleanse, and now the flash comes out. It is all 4 summoner spells gone from Invictus Gaming's bottom lane.
That's exactly what BLG want right here, Alk. We talked about the fact that this composition needs to thrive early on. How about burning all 4 summoner spells from your bot lane before the lane even starts? On still has flash, so he can just engage on a whim. The second he decides to go for a fight, he can do it.
My only issue here is, like, the 2v2 can be pretty potent, yes, but how realistic is it going to be that we actually see any action from them, especially with Beichuan starting on the bottom side of the map? Does he make an early entrance into this bottom lane? And for Knight, you know, it's level 1. Don't think it's going to be too impactful, but he is starting on this charm, so Rookie can be a little bit more lackadaisical here in the 1v1 matchup.
Yeah, I think Ryze unfortunately not the best at punishing at level 1 regardless. You either take E, which does damage to you or minions, and then you don't have Q. So level 2 is the pretty big boost for Ryze, and normally the same to be said for Ahri in this matchup. So not the worst case for Knighters. For the most part as well, just a small thing of On being able to walk into this bot lane with an extra cloth armor means that the typical auto attack trades that you see getting him whittled down at are going to have slightly less of an impact. Saying that as he takes, 150, 200 HP for pretty much nothing. But the point being that expectation is that it makes the bot lane a little easier for BLG.
And again, the game still is able to be played. Obviously, there was only a single kill that went over. Skarner is making his way towards the top side here, and you can see Beichuan 3 camps. I'm coming bot lane. They have no sums. Let's go for a punish. You can see that Gala and Meiko. Oh, that hawk shot, and he doesn't have a Ranger's focus either, so this is pure damage and a free win. Oh, Gala. All right, 3 Talon strike. Knocked up. There's the handshake. Gala gets knocked up. He gets taken down. Another kill going over to BLG to start.
And it's really well played. I love that On actually saves his flash. It's so easy to go, okay, they've got no flash. I know that I'm just going to be able to engage like this. But Meiko's actually saving handshake for, when the Rakan goes for the engage. It needs to be used a little bit earlier, honestly, to get Beichuan off of the Ashe in the first place. Because that's slow from the Audacious Charge. The application of Qs means that he's actually in a pretty rough spot to begin with, and he's always going to go down. At least if you Q the Xin Zhao off, you can maybe force flash from On and lose threat on him later on.
At the very least, Jiejie was able to grab himself the Raptor camp, so not feeling too bad. Bin's got to be careful. He's about to get crushed in this matchup. That ranged form, nothing to laugh at right now. And Skarner not going to make an appearance in the top lane, but oh my god, we are just forcing summoner spells. Wow. Okay, Rookie loses his flash. Pretty dry.
This is really worth it though for Knight, right? Ahri hits level 6, gets access to Spirit Rush and 3 flashes on cooldown.
Oh my god, Bin tries to use the double slice and dice to get on through, force something onto TheShy. We're getting some emotes here. They're going to maybe look to pressure onto his red buff here. You know that you have priority from Rookie because Knight having to teleport a little bit later. And TheShy can very easily move on down if he needs to. Beichuan's going to lose his red buff here.
Plus the level lead for Jiejie as well. That early gank is costing him now in the long run. Knight moving over. Smite secured by Beichuan.
Okay, red buff. He gets that power. Is he going to be able to escape? There's no flash from Rookie. Phase Rush could have made it a lot more difficult, but we are going to continue to fight. Bin looking for Jiejie. No stun available. There it is. The Ruthless Predator comes down. Rookie is taken out, and it is a 3-0 start for BLG. Can they get any more, though? TheShy and Jiejie are going to go forward. Jiejie almost goes down. It is a trade onto Bin. TheShy is going to get another kill. Trying to see if he can get any more healing from the passive of this Xin Zhao. It'll be 2 kills going over to this Jace. And BLG still feeling very confident about their early game start.
As TheShy walks into mid lane. Fancies a little bit of Knight as well. He's the Globetrotter through the top side of the Rift. Gets himself a couple of kills, a red buff as well. And this B1 Jace, we hadn't talked about it too much, but getting a little bit of early action here. Something that we've not necessarily seen from either of our top laners. Bin won MVP in game number 1 for his Ambessa, had a very good performance on the Yorick as well in game number 2, but up against a Jace, a definitely difficult lane, might struggle.
I'm glad that TheShy has just decided, okay, if none of you guys can do it, I'll just do it myself. I will just win this game by my lonesome if I really have to. What exactly are we watching? Oh, Blade Caller gets forced out. Is this just Gala losing more summoner spells?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh!
It's Elk misclicking. Okay, that's why we're replaying it. The LPL observers would never miss an opportunity to slate one of their players like that. Absolutely.
You know, usually when we have more Europeans on the show, I get really afraid and I have to watch BLG games because I might not be like super intently watching and I just hear Elk. And sometimes you guys do end up pronouncing it a little closer to my name. So I felt very much in tune with BLG's AD carry. That felt like a me moment there in the AD carry position. So
that was a good flash from Elk. Unfortunately, it was a bad auto attack. So
yeah,
the idea's there, which is the hot part.
The
However,
spirit
he will be
was good.
Himself. Yeah, I love your gumption.
Well, let's see what else BLG and IG can do with the fact that they lost all of those kills early. TheShy is now dominating this lane. Already has a 15 CS lead. Also now gets those 2 kills for himself. Can Knight do much more? Rookie saw him move over for this play. I'm surprised that this is not a larger investment to protect TheShy.
They want him.
Yeah, they're just using this. Can he dodge out on the charm? It's going to land by Knight. He's going to get himself, actually trades a kill. TheShy says, if you're going to aim for the best top laner, you best not miss. He puts down BLG and he puts down Bin in this matchup.
And this is what you need from this all-star top laner. In the clutch moments, he's 3v1 top lane and finds a kill, doesn't even die. Yes, he gets hit by the charm, but that does not matter. And now Gala looking for a bit of a fight.
Oh, there we go. Flash from Gala. He's going to try to walk forward here. He's got a lot of movement speed coming on through from the approach velocity. But it's just going to be the use of his flash traded there for the engage coming out from Elkanon. I feel bad for IG's bottom lane, but all they got to do is press tab. All they got to do is listen to TheShy saying, guys, I am winning so hard. Just trust. Let me play this game. Let me win us the game.
Oh, and on as well, even stopping the recall from Gala here is going to lock this bot side into either a pretty rough recall or a pretty rough laning state. You can see already Rookie actually moving down to this bot side to bail them out. They're going to move Gala and Meiko into that mid lane. BLG playing to their strong side, playing toward this dragon. The area of the map where they can look to fight. And for IG, the question becomes, how do they start splitting up the lanes? Because usually you'll move your bot lane to wherever you want to fight for. But when you have a 3-0 Jace, you want TheShy everywhere that you're looking to fight. Fortunately, I think the timing on it has synced up nicely so that they can just take grubs at the same time that the Drake goes down. And with that prio that TheShy has, they should expect to find those without really any concern.
All right. They're taking control of mid wave. I like what we're seeing coming out from IG's bottom lane. It does mean with Beichuan putting himself towards the bottom side of the map, getting 3 grubs for yourself, especially for TheShy, is exactly what you needed to see. It'll be another plate falling for this Jace. And, you know, aside
Elk
from
did just
IG...
flash.
Oh.
Again.
Oh.
I think.
Oh. No,
no,
it's a visual. It's,
okay.
Yeah,
all
it's
right.
I've gotten used to it this season for the LPL spectator. I don't know what's going on, but just for some reason when Flash is about to come back up, a lot of the times it is just goes on cooldown, at least visually.
All right.
Okay, well, TheShy's trying to do something here.
This is going to be a massive bleed onto the rest of the map. Whoever comes out on top, or if they end up fighting here, this decides how the mid game goes, right? Oh. As they once again scrap. Heal burned. But both of these sides of the map here are the strong sides fighting against one another. Now Bin and Rookie, Dominus forced, but do want to quickly, touch on the fact that if TheShy falls here, that's your massive advantage going down. If Elk falls, the same case is to be said.
Oh, Ashol does not land.
Wow.
It's the cleanse and the heal gone from Elk and on. No summoner spells burnt by IG, and they want to continue to try to get a little bit more. I don't know how much more they can actually extend. TheShy is pretty low on mana. Maybe just going to be a single plate, especially with this Demolish proc. But they had Jiejie in the area. Knight has been trapped in this mid lane. He's been making a few attempts to potentially move on up towards the top side, but has not been able to find a proper window or a timer to actually go up and help his bottom lane duo. So for now, it's just going to be BLG finally getting pushed in top side.
Waiting for level 9 on Knight, really, and then you can just Orb of Deception. You clear that wave so much faster when you clear the backline minions with 1Q. But I'm just sat here, looking at that top lane with bated breath, because I do think that's going to decide how the rest of this mid game ends up going. -1 Gala. As we look at the, chances for IG in this series, they've got one game really that they can do here. That they need to try and find this win. And for TheShy, it's all eyes on him really. Tier in the back pocket, so stacking up to be this massive 2-item threat when he comes to that item breakpoint. But he's not quite there yet. Looking to try and find another plate on this top side, and the small thing that we've got is that this Demolish proc is going to do quite a lot of work, as now he's caught by a charm.
All right, On is in the area. They do have the quickness if they need it, but instead, TheShy is just going to use his teleport and his flash here for this play. And have to immediately retreat. If he recalls, I feel like it's a massive win for BLG. Engage goes on to Jiejie. It's going to be the hook. Lands? Okay. Well, now we're just getting every single ultimate. Beichuan makes a snap engage. TheShy's trying to get away. The bounty lands onto Beichuan. And now we'll see BLG move forward. Flash coming on through. Can they find more? Gala falls, and now BLG take full control of the map. They finally found this pick, and maybe they're going to end this off with a single treat onto Meiko.
Oh, what is that? Flash shot from Meiko here is not good at all. You are definitely dying there, and that flash just seals your... is just insult to injury, really. And for BLG, that is the massive turn that they needed. That is now the game right back in their control. All of that lead that TheShy had is pretty much removed just by taking him down. He can't continue to build that XP lead, and he gets a little bit baited to stay here by the fact that Beichuan is around, but the TPs are faster. The ability to get to this play for BLG is a little bit better. Beichuan flashes over the hostile takeover, and Knight uses the Spirit Rush to dodge it. There's no flash from before for TheShy, so he is just a sitting duck. And with the reset for Knight, he's able to go forward, been able to get into that backline. And unfortunately, for IG, they just didn't respect that TheShy was their carry. He was the person that needed to be protected, and they hadn't done that.
They have no damage. It's Meiko and Jiejie. I'm having a Skarner with no Heartsteel during that fight and a Renata Glask. Who is doing damage aside from TheShy? They had all of the DPS set up from BLG, and they made good on that play. Dragon spawning in 15 seconds time should be a priority going over to IG, especially with now them being able to put 4 members in this mid lane wave. But again, playing towards TheShy, he still has a pretty massive gold advantage versus his opponent, but you're saying that the gold right now is starting to equalize a little bit more. Obviously, Knight is feeling a little stronger here. Should be IG at least picking themselves up the second dragon.
I will say as well, a reminder that we're not too worried about this game for IG if it goes really late. The scaling on a Ryze, the scaling on an Ashe, definitely very, very solid, and the late game damage from an Ahri, from a Renekton can be a little bit weaker. Do value a Xayah as you move into the late game though. Want to highlight the fact that Elk could have a mammoth performance on this Xayah, and with the cleanse, the ulti as well has a lot of safety built into his kit, but IG sniffing around in the spot side jungle. Jiejie may be found.
Oh, they need to be careful. It's the teleport from Knight. Huge engage from On. And it is a hostile takeover that puts 3 people in a tizzy. 2 kills immediately here for BLG. A 3rd one to follow. A 4th one to come on through. It's a triple kill for Bin. And a massive win for Bilibili Gaming.
And it's another fight that goes the way of the 2024 Spring and Summer Champions. They are looking to return to that form, Alk. They were coming out of the regular season off of a 2-game win streak. Now in this series, the one that we touted to be the closest of our first round playoff matches, they are putting IG to bed in 3 swift games. Every time these team fights have come through, it's been BLG that come out on top. And it's once again On having an incredible performance. Flash in, double knock up onto the backline. And even though Meiko here lands a triple hostile takeover, it doesn't matter. Elk is free hitting this entire time. Bin is running rampant with Knight, running rampant with Beichuan, and just getting every single kill that they needed. Gala's threatened by all of the flanks, the Ahri from one side, a Renekton from another, and he has to run to the high hills.
I'm just so confused because kind of a through line for this series so far has been IG not necessarily recognizing when they are strong, when they're allowed to do things, and it really feels, when I look at this Invictus Gaming roster, they see somebody that's even vaguely out of position and they're like, illegal, you're not supposed to be here, we're going to take you down. Why are we not just screening for TheShy? He's getting so much damage down onto the turret, you have 3 grubs, let him get the wave, let him finish off this turret. Knight takes a little bit of damage from a shock blast, but this gold lead is starting to really climb here for BLG, and Beichuan now has a massive advantage. Same thing with Elk over their counterparts.
Yeah, and I think that this Xayah again going to be really tricky to try and get access to.
Oh my god, this is such a great engage coming in, even with Jiejie finding 2 members. Beichuan and On are just playing on another level versus their counterparts. The investment of the ultimate from Rookie. We're making a re-engage. Goodbye, Meiko. Good job with the bailout. We'll see you in the next fight. Knight's gonna go forward, and this should be BLG looking to start up this Herald. But the massive shockwave from TheShy, that might actually dissuade them and buy them a little bit of purchase here onto the objective.
Maybe even buys them the objective itself here, Alk. Not all done just yet as IG do bite back. Meiko's going to go down, but it's going to secure the Rift Herald off of TheShy and some of those accelerated shock blasts. It's getting a little bit messy here for IG, but they are doing just barely enough to keep themselves still in with a chance at winning this game. And for a series coming into this where we were so excited to look at our mid lane matchup, I might have to hold this as TheShy threatened by Bin here. Is this 1 versus 1 with TPs not available?
You know, TheShy's getting pretty close to his turret. He'll get access to melee form. Can Bin do it? Can Bin keep going?
That's Flash.
Yeah, it's Flash. He's going to go forward. TheShy knocks him into the turret. At TheShy, he says, thank you very much. But you look at the opposite side of the map, and TheShy has to be a little sadder here as his bot lane duo falls, and now it's going to potentially be at least 1 more turret, whether it's the mid or the bottom lane, is up to BLG.
This game without TheShy is 0-11 right now in favor of BLG. Everywhere on the map is crumbling around him. And it's coming off of the initial playmaking of Beichuan once again, maybe on the back of this as well. Knight has got Spirit Rush, he's got Flash, shouldn't really be in any trouble here.
Yeah, he's going to basically be able to get out of this if he wants to. Jiejie says, thank you for the Heartsteel proc, I will continue on my way. 40 seconds before this dragon spawns, and I'll be honest, I know we're probably going to see IG fight for this anyway, but I really don't know if this is going to be the angle you want here, especially now Elk, 2 items finished with the Navori Flicker Blades.
Yeah, there's 2 items on TheShy, so there is that question mark of whether or not he's strong enough to tango with everybody on BLG, because he is the real only carry left as Knight's behind.
Oh my, there it is again, man. On just completely breaks the ankles of IG. Jiejie finds a massive impale, but it is not enough. TheShy finally gets a reset when they pick up this recon, but the entire game is falling to pieces. Invictus Gaming, can they realm warp out? Oh. Yes. That'll be an escape for Meiko and for Rookie, but the rest of IG have to watch with gray screens as BLG pick up their third dragon.
And it's yet another skirmish that is started by IG, but it's because BLG have threatened them so heavily. It's a TP from Knight that means they need to go for it. It's on as well, on another level on this recon, this game. TP in from one side from Knight, and all of a sudden TheShy realizes, well, now they've got to go in, and it's actually On that starts it all off. Meiko zones one side of the fight, but they're just so far caught up that they can't do enough. And unfortunately, a 3-man impale from Jiejie is not enough in this skirmish. Rookie arrives late. By this time, the fight's already over. He puts one rotation onto Beichuan and then realm warps out. A series which we were so excited for our mid laners to pop off and be those quintessential carries. In this game, Knight is doing it, but Rookie just really hasn't had that same level of impact.
And that has been, I think, name of the game for Invictus Gaming. What versions of IG are we going to get? Are we going to get TheShy playing at his peak? Feels like this series so far, he's been playing pretty damn well, all things considered. But then you look at Rookie, who has been kind of a liability in this series. Gala and Meiko haven't been able to find that 2v2 success that we were wanting to see from them. And that is going to continue to be the case as to the Jekyll and Hyde nature of this super team that is supposed to kind of revolutionize the league.
And yet somehow they're still the team pushing for this bot tier 2.
Okay.
The caught On here, who's going to maybe get away?
Nope, that's one more auto. Okay, so they'll be able to grab that kill. It's the heal as well from On. And a turret, so not all that bad. Exactly what we needed to see, especially with 3 grubs here for Invictus Gaming. You kind of saw there's a lot of pings. If Elk was a little closer to his jungler, I think maybe there was an Otacon start. And hell, there still might be an Otacon here being taken by the side of BLG.
I mean, Beichuan did the majority of this solo. Now he's got a little bit of help from Elk as well. This thing is just going to melt. 2 items for Beichuan, 2 items for the AD carry. Blood Roses come through, and now that experience advantage. Look at our AD carries. Elk is up 2.7k, up an entire 3 levels over Gala. The DPS difference is going to be astronomical.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just even if you took away the levels, just look at the items. That's all I needed to see. Gala is... he has no AD. He's going to be going for a Kraken Slayer into what looks to be a Rudon's Hurricane or a Phantom Dancer. This looks really miserable to play right now if you are Gala. To be fair, you're always going to have a lot of utility by just way of having the Hawk Shot and the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, but the damage isn't there right now. Rookie is far as hell away from a Seraphs at this point, especially with how much gold he does not have in this game number 3.
Maybe an attempt onto Bin here. Jiejie through the wall, but Beichuan's nearby. On's nearby as well.
Oh, they're making this engage, but look at how much HP Bin has. He can steal so much more, and he gets out alive. Beichuan now here with this Crescent Guard buying so much time, and it is a waste for IG. It is a complete and utter domination here. Rookie does get out, but he literally just took a single bus stop here with the Realm Warp. He's just going to get caught. They thought maybe there's going to be more members to be able to get him out of this. Ben teleported to the top side. It is a smashing BLG, man. We thought this was going to be a close series. They've made it look anything but.
3-0 looking thoroughly on the cards here as BLG take another 4 kills down in the bot lane. And this time round, it's just an overextend from IG. It is them going for a play that's just a little too far out of their reach. A missed impale from Jiejie, a couple of whiffed skill shots, and just overall too much importance placed on this play. But for TheShy, it's constantly looking to play around him. Unfortunately for IG, it's just too little too late. Immediate TP comes in from Knight. He is there to support. Meiko does a good job at delaying On, but that impale falls short. TheShy, unfortunately, left a little bit out in the lurch, and a wind becomes lightning takes him down. If the Enchanted Crystal Arrow lands, then maybe, again, they can try and find a fight here, try and find a kill and reset from this, but you can tell the rookie's panicking here. Realm Warp has a longer range than that, good sir, and if he wasn't panicking, if he wasn't in a little bit of a trouble situation, he might have been fine.
He does no damage, bro. He's getting farmed.
Yeah.
It's another turret going down here, and BLG, how much more can they make of this? I want to think about the potential matchup going forward. If they win here today, they will have a date with top esports in a few days' time. And if this is the form that we will get from BLG, you have to imagine that if this was supposed to be our banger that didn't deliver, that upper bracket quarterfinals is exactly what we want to see here in the LPL.
Catch on to Jiejie. I mean, you're right, though, Alk, that, I mean, honestly, and looking at how top esports played today, there's questions as to whether they're even the favourites going into it. If BLG look this good and top esports look as shaky as they did in that series that they've just played versus FPX, where that could have conceivably gone to 5 games, and who knows what would have happened in that 5th one. IG getting torn apart by BLG bodes very well for our 2024 champions.
And still, there's a lower bracket for both of these teams, and still some more game to be played here, but I have to imagine you're on Soul Point here, now 4.5 minutes away from the Soul. It's 25 minutes, 6,500 goal lead, not including the experience differential between some of these lanes. This feels like it is over and dusted, and the flowers to be given to BLG.
How about how they close out this series? I think they've done a really good job at just shadowing where they expect TheShy to be and making sure that there's a little bit of safety here. Jiejie going to find out that there's at least one member in there.
Well, goes on forward. He actually ends up using the cleanse from his spell book here on the Rakan. Did get buffed on this patch, so not too surprising to see it, but something we haven't really noted all game long. Gets out of the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, and that's just going to be him being able to move on over, move more of the vision forward here for BLG. They're going to try and make this play onto Jiejie. It's a double impale, but none of his damage members are in the area. That'll be Jiejie going down, and that should be the Baron being started. Knight flies in over the wall, says, "Thank you for the cleanse, I will be back," and he's just going to farm up this mid wave and get ready for his team to take over this game.
Yeah, I mean, Baron should at least be started between Alk and Beichuan. There's enough damage there and enough tankiness as well with the heals from the Gleaming Quail. No jungler for Invictus Gaming means that BLG will take this with absolutely no problems. TheShy sniffing, though.
TheShy walks forward. He gets caught. It's a handshake. It's a hostile takeover there. Elk does have to use the Feather Storm. Is the bailout not going to be enough for TheShy? Flash is coming out for multiple members. Teleport here from Knight. He does not have ultimate, but he does have Flash. Realm Warp's going to be able to use for Rookie to escape. The amount of movement speed that Knight is having from Foxfire plus his teleport. On gets caught, finally. Handshake again lands, and Beichuan moves forward uninhibited, unfearful of the opponents, recognizing that IG can do nothing but watch as the game completely crumbles.
And with Baron at their backs now, Alk, it's just a matter of time. 2 people dead. He's going to have the ability to make his way back out onto that map as soon as he respawns. And for BLG here, it's just been a massive series from them, really. Start to finish, they've not looked like ever giving a game over. Even this one where this has been the closest that IG have gotten to finding a game versus BLG. And they're still down 10k gold. They are just getting walked across the rift, and BLG have done such a good job throughout this series at keeping IG exactly where they want them.
Now, if Lennon was here, he would say Beichuan has been performing up to snuff, and he is getting all of the dirty work done for this team. I am not going to say that. But what I will say here is, ever since this guy joined this roster, yes, he is not Shun. Yes, he is not Kanavi, but I don't think you need to be. When you have such great lanes here, you can get away with a lot of random crap when your solo lanes are Bin and Knight. And if they just need you to run to their lanes and gank them, hell yes, man, I'll jump. You say how high? I'm here to play. I'm here to win something.
And that's, you know, it's thoroughly on the cards at this point. If they continue with this level of performance, I'll... You know, keep my breath a little bit bated as we wait for them playing up against potentially more scary opponents a little bit later on, right? IG ultimately were a 5th seed, and On's just dead.
On gets caught. Bin flashes forward, trying to find something. TheShy, no bailout. It is a single member getting caught with that impale. And this feels like the death throes here for Invictus Gaming in the upper bracket. A triple kill here coming through for Bin. 2 more members of Invictus Gaming stand between them and a 3-0 and a date with Top Esports.
This should just be the game here. Rookie cannot clear this wave. Meiko, no ulti. This should just be BLG signing their ticket to the quarters.
There it is. That is BLG. They'll take down Rookie. They'll send them to the lower bracket. And BLG in the banger versus Invictus Gaming make it look easy as the 4th seed. They make it look clean versus IG. And they'll go on to face Top Esports in 2 days' time.
And it was clinical from BLG, start to finish. There was no part of us really through any of these 3 games that went, yeah, IG look like they've got it in the bag here. BLG just from the very get-go were absolutely indomitable, and really every player on that team performed about as up to scratch as we might have liked. And honestly, maybe the quietest member for BLG was Knight, which is not to discredit how he performed in any of these games, but more so a credit to how strong this team can be when they are firing on all cylinders, because everybody else was looking incredible, and Knight was, I mean, honestly, just along for the ride.
Just Elk is just on another level so far. Him and On have looked so good so far. I think it's easy to take a layup when you are playing against Gala and Meiko, who we did note as having some struggles in the 2v2, but this team, man, if this is the form that we're going to get from them, I think we're really excited, and I think we're in for a real treat in that upper semifinals going up against Top Esports. I just think that there's so much there, potentially, if they're able to perform, but that has been kind of the crux of the issue for a lot of our top-level LPL teams. It's that string of consistency, and that is so important here in the playoffs.
And if they're coming into it in the playoffs, then absolutely this is the best time for it. It's shades of that early season BLG where they came out of the gate in Split 2 and they were dominating it in Group Ascend. We were genuinely looking at these guys as thinking they can contest with top, they can contest with the top 1 seed in the LPL, and ultimately those shades of consistency weren't quite met. But overall, moving into this series and how they've looked in playoffs, at least up until now, this looks like a team that is refueled and looks like a team that wants to go the distance.
Yeah, it's all about, can they actually perform? Because, you know, we said, hey, they struggled against Top Esports, they struggled against Jiejie. Those are teams that are above them in seeding, and obviously teams that they're going to be playing against as we go further on here in the playoffs. And, I mean, again, for IG now, you're going to be playing against FPX in 3. They play on the 4th, so about 4 or 5 days from now, they'll have a little bit of time to kind of bounce back. We do need to see this team find themselves here in the playoffs, which is probably the worst time you want to be having a slump.
Mm-hmm. I mean, for IG as well, like coming into the playoffs, they were already looking a little bit shaky. They'd had a decent series run of things versus FPX, just a 2-0 beforehand to get them in the mood, but then immediately playing against BLG, right? The last series of the last series they played